Good morning, everybody. How are you today? It's kind of a nasty day today. We've got a freezing rain storm outside. Just kind of nasty and cold and dreary, so I think I want to work in the kitchen today. I'm going to bake a banana bread, but it's going to be a new recipe to me. It's going to be whole wheat. So we'll see how that turns out. Get the fire up to snuff here so we can do our baking. We'll get right on that. The first thing we have to do is ripen up 5 bananas. I usually use 4 bananas in my banana bread, but this particular recipe calls for 5. So to do that, we'll put 5 bananas in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. Our bananas are done baking. They're nice and soft and mushy. I'm taking them all out and putting them in a mixing bowl so that I can chop them up into mush. Just chop them up like this. That should be good. I'll set these aside to put in our batter later on. The recipe calls for 1/2 cup of sugar, or rather I should say brown sugar. And we don't usually put as much sugar in as these recipes call for. They tend to be a little bit too sweet. But the other thing is that we don't keep brown sugar in the house for whatever reason. We just don't keep it in the house. So we like to just mix regular sugar with molasses. Just mix it together. It doesn't take much molasses. Just do it by eye. That way every batch is different. And just take your fork and mix it all together. Takes a little bit longer this way, but it just turns out better for some reason. Okay, I've softened up some butter, a stick of butter. I'm going to put our newly made brown sugar in with the butter and whisk that up. I'm actually going to beat together the brown sugar and the butter, the softened butter. Beat that together nicely. Looks nice. Okay. Into our mixing bowl, we'll put a teaspoon of vanilla. You know, the usual standard stuff. Vanilla. Baking soda. Standard ingredients for one of these sweet cakes. I don't even measure it. A little bit of salt. Salt, you want to make sure you measure carefully, because if you overdo your salt, you'll know it when you take your first bite. In goes the mashed banana. 5 bananas. I usually do 4. My other recipe calls for 3, and I usually do 4. This one calls for 5. I'll mix those in nicely. Whisk that all together. That's blending really well. Now we're going to put in our eggs. 2 eggs. There they go. Haha. Whisk those in nice. And then in goes a 1/4 cup of local raw honey. Our neighbors do this honey. Our neighbors Linda and Tim. They also do our maple syrup. Alright, I'm going to put this concoction on the stand mixer. Stand mixer can do a better job than me of whisking and mixing. So we have it in here, we might as well use it. There we go. I've got the batter mixing on the mixer over in the back of the cabin where the solar panels are. While that's mixing, I'm going to chop up these hazelnuts. We like to put, the recipe doesn't call for it, but I like to put hazelnuts in our various bakes where it's appropriate. I'll just chop these up. Okay, we're mixing up. The batter's just about done mixing. I'm running the mixer back here where the solar panels are. So I'll pan to outdoors and you can just see the corner of the last solar panel right there. So that's how we like to run that mixer. The solar panel is right there, just the corner of our line of solar panels. And see if I can pan up there where it says 3000 watt. That's the inverter. And we can run just about anything off this system. Chop up your nuts. You could do walnuts. Chop them up to the size that you want. Having nuts in your banana bread or any sweet bread is as much a texture thing as it is a flavor thing. So just chop them up to whatever coarseness or fineness that you want. I'm thinking that this is about good for us. Okay, that'll be good. Next go the grape, or rather not grapes, the raisins. There we go. Okay, next goes the flour. It's 226 grams of flour if you have a scale. If you don't, it's about 2 cups. This is whole wheat flour. This is the first time we've made banana bread using whole wheat flour. And then in goes the nuts. And then we'll just blend it nicely. And it'll be ready for the bread pan. There we go. It's in the bread pan now. The directions said to let it sit in the bread pan for 10 minutes, I guess, to settle. So I've got a timer going on. And then it's going to go in the oven for 50 minutes, a 350 oven, for 50 minutes. And then after that, I'll cover it with probably parchment for another 10 minutes. And then we'll see how it goes.
And you have to turn it.
Time to put the banana bread in the oven. It's going to go in a 350 oven for 50 minutes. I'll turn it around halfway through the 50, and then I'll put a piece of parchment paper over it. After 50 minutes, 50, I'm going to put this piece of parchment paper on top of the bread. That'll help to keep the top of it from getting too burned. It's time to take the banana bread out of the oven. The whole wheat banana bread. I've never made one before. But there it is, and we'll put it over here to cool. Right there. We'll give that about 10 minutes to cool off a little bit, and then we'll take it out of the pan. Okay, so I'm going to take the bread out of the bread pan now. Beautiful. Whole wheat banana bread. We'll have some with tea tonight.
Look at the inside.
All right, here we go. Let's cut open this whole wheat banana bread.
So it's peculiar. Very funny. That doesn't do any.